Hey, it's Pete Cohen here, and welcome to the My 365 podcast series, episode 136. And my guest today is the amazing body-mind coach, Samantha Hardingham. And if you want to be inspired and motivated and fired up to take better control of your health and your well-being, then this is a podcast you definitely want to check out. She is an incredible lady whose mission is to empower as many people as she possibly can. Today's podcast is brought to you by the My365 Challenge. Go to mi365.me/challenge. That's mi365.me/challenge and check out our incredible weight loss program and see what that can do for you. But for now, let's get stuck into the show, my interview with the amazing body-mind coach, Samantha Hardingham. So it's Pete Cohen, and you join me for episode 136 of the My 365 podcast series. And my guest today is the amazing Samantha Hardingham, the body-mind coach. Samantha, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm fabulous, and it is a pleasure to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. Cheers. Ching, ching.
Ching, ching.
So I'm going to actually have a little sip. So Samantha, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're passionate about.
I am passionate about empowering women to be the best that they can be and love the body and mind that they live in. I'm from sunny Suffolk, and I'm just passionate about helping women to be the best.
So when you say that to me, immediately I say, well, are you not passionate about helping men as well?
Do you know what? I've tried to help men. They're different species. They are different species.
Yeah.
So I have just kept to women. That's my tribe.
And what is it about women that makes you want to help them?
I think because I hit, a pain spot where I thought, is this it? Is this my life once I'd had my children? And I just thought, how many other women are experiencing the same issues with weight, with mindset, nutrition, struggling with the everyday juggle? How can I help them move that forward so that they're actually thriving in life rather than just surviving?
I've just come up with something when you said that. Struggle with the juggle.
Yeah, struggle with the juggle.
Because it is juggling, right? And if you are a man and you're listening to this or watching this, you don't have to turn this off, because one thing you might actually learn is a little bit about how women actually think, and I think you're right. There are some real fundamental differences between men and women. But tell us a little bit about your own kind of story. How did you get to where you are today?
So I've always been active, and I did always struggle with the weight that I wanted to be. I wasn't particularly overweight, but yes. I wasn't where I wanted to be. And as soon as I hit puberty, I struggled with, cravings. I always rode horses, but I'd had a lot of falls, a lot of back pain and issues, hypermobility. And when it came to having children, especially with my second child, yeah. I was in absolute agony, had pelvic girdle pain. If any of you have had that, you wouldn't wish it upon your worst enemy. And it
was...
Why?
What? So, I mean, it's because obviously I don't think
it's like
men don't get pelvic
no.
girdle
If
issues.
You've ever had sciatica, it's like sciatica at the front.
Yeah.
And
constant pain.
You can't move. Constant pain. And during that pregnancy, I piled on the pounds. So I put on at least 4 stone, and by lunchtime I couldn't walk, and I just got to that point where, what have I got to offer my 2 daughters? Because here is a mother who is grumpy from the pain, can't run around with them, is overweight, tired, in a constant, tired cycle, and a brain fog, and is this what I've got to give them?
So how did you what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Because I've seen a couple of pictures of you when you were 4 stone heavier, and the transformation in you is just unbelievable.
During that second pregnancy, I knew that I wanted to lose that weight. I didn't know how.
Yeah.
But I did not want to be on a diet anymore, and I knew that they didn't work. So I researched diets for the best part of, sort of 8 months. And I had previously spent so much money with chiropractors and osteopaths.
Yeah.
And I worked it out that it was about £10,000. I could buy a small car with that. And I just thought, and I'm still no further forward. And the only person that could help me was me. And I was going to have to do this by myself. And somebody had said to me, just walk and eat naturally. And I thought, what do they mean by that?
Yeah.
And I'd always cooked from scratch. And so we kind of ate healthily, but healthily means something different to everybody. And so when I started to research a bit more and dig a bit deeper, I got to the point where I thought, okay, when I'm ready, when I've had my daughter, I will then start. But I didn't know at what point that was going to be. So I had her in the October. In the January, it was the first time that I'd never made a New Year's resolution to be the size 8 that I always wanted to be. Yes. And it was probably the 3rd or 4th week into January that I was standing in the kitchen, and as I turned, just the pain going through my body was just horrific. And that was my rock bottom. I can't do this anymore. I literally cannot wake up another morning feeling like this with this to offer my kids, basically.
Wow.
And so that was the turning point. And in 10 days, I'd lost 10 pounds, which was fantastic. But, and this is what I didn't really realise, I had so much energy and I felt so different. And most of my symptoms had started to disappear. A lot of the pain had gone. Mm-hmm. And I felt so amazing that I thought, hang on a minute, do you mean to say I have been living, the last 38 years, not in constant pain, but always not thriving at optimum level.
So when you talk about pain, it's not just physical pain, is it? It sounds like when you talk about the 38 years, the mental pain.
I never slept as a child, so I was always tired. Hormones, going through as a teenager. I did a low-fat diet when I was in my late teens, and then was very much underweight. I was 6 3/4 stone, and I'm 5'6", and that was really mentally draining. That was probably the worst point ever.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it, about when we know we're alive. And in most cases, we know we're alive when we're not well or in pain. And then we forget what it's like to be well. Yeah. And you probably realised that you were just existing, not living. And then you got a real taste of being alive, properly alive.
Properly alive. And I can't say that I was ever ill, but I'd never felt well.
Yeah.
And
what about now?
Oh, endless energy and... every day's a new day.
And that's what you're doing with people. You've helped so many people.
Yeah, you can see it in their face. After 10 days, they get a glow, an inner glow, and they look amazing. And you think, they've cracked it. They've cracked it. As soon as you see that inner glow, you know that they feel different.
But the hardest thing, isn't it? It's just getting started. The first 2 or 3 days of any regime seems to be the sticking point for a lot of people, isn't it? And then often people can break through that.
It took me a long time to make that shift. That shift happened over sort of a 6-month period leading up to then that pain point happening. And before then, when you're on quick fixes and a quick diet just to shrink down for your holiday, and then you're in that whole cycle again, you're avoiding the real issue, and while you're avoiding that, you're actually just creating more pain for yourself. And I wanted to get out of that. And it probably took, while I was researching it, a good 6 months to start making those shifts. And they happened over a period of time of breaking down those barriers that actually, in order to get from A to B to where I wanted to be, and, visualise what I wanted to look like, that I had to let go of other stuff, which was mostly mindset.
So, actually, I was going to ask you, did you read my book, Why Am I Not Losing Weight?
Yes.
If not, you did. Great,
yes.
Thank you very much, because that was obviously based on lots of interviews that I did, 100-odd podcasts, and trying to, both of us are quite similar in terms of we know how wonderful and great life can be, and we just want to give people that opportunity themselves. So when you talk about, I loved what you said about, you want to go from A to B, but hang on a second, let's just look at for a second of what you might need to let go of.
Yeah.
What was the biggest things that do you ever really let go of anything? Even the things that you've let go of, do some of them sometimes come back, but you now have the power to...
Occasionally, even thinking I'm not going to be on a diet again, that's quite an issue to deal with. That
it comes up again. Maybe maybe I should go on a diet, or...
Yeah, I don't want anybody to be on a diet. My ethos is throw away the scales, eat natural food that looks like it's come out of the ground or the sky or the sea, and that is enough, and move.
So let's look at that. Well, let's also just look at, so what were some of the things that you really had to let go of? So one of them was let go of dieting. What else did you have to let go of?
Snacking, and... my family love food. My auntie, who inspires me, she's a cordon bleu cook, and we're a very foodie family. So, whenever we come together, there's lots of food. So baking was a huge thing. I love making cakes, even sold them at boot sales, did all of that. And I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to be able to do that. But actually I could. It was just using your mind to change the way that you did it.
But isn't that interesting? A lot of people think, I can't eat that anymore. Rather than, hang on a second, you could still eat that if you really wanted to. But you could also find alternatives to make that in a different way, right?
And that's an exciting challenge. I love that when people say, I can't eat that, or, I'm allergic to this. Right, okay, let's find out what you can eat, and let's...
Well, you've been doing that for years, and I think that's what some people will find out who end up following you, is you're very innovative in coming up with new ways of finding to make things in, fun and interesting ways. And because we all want to play, we all want to grow, we all want to get better, but I think that hard thing is to, to let go. And, if people had a penny or a pound for every time they went on a diet or got on the scales, for a lot of people, they'd be very rich.
Yeah.
So to let go of that. What else do you think, what else did you let go of, or what else do you think people need to let go of in order to bring in something new?
Definitely dieting is the number one thing to, make that mental shift to let go of. Secondly, that there are no quick fixes. This is your chance to be better every single day, and that's something that you have to work for, work towards. It doesn't always happen. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just carry on to the next
it's
one.
funny, isn't it, when we say about there's no quick fix, but hang on, it is pretty quick, isn't it? If you change your diet and you change it for 3 or 4 days, the things that you can reverse that are going wrong. In fact, with the person we just did a podcast with today, and by the way, we did amazingly. How many omelettes did we make? 5 or 6 omelettes. We were omeletting. I've never made so many omelettes. And
production line.
In fact, when this podcast comes out, I think maybe she's the next one. I can't remember. And she was talking about living with a serious health condition. And I was thinking, well, hang on a second. We're all living with a serious health condition. It's called death.
Yeah.
That is coming. It's a health. You can't get away from it. But it's about how we live. And it seems like you have found out and you've tasted now how great life can be. And that's what you, in essence, are sharing with people, how great and wonderful life can be. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, you can just feel so energetic, and I couldn't believe that, everything feels clouded. And when you're eating food that really fuels your body and works for you, I loved food, but not all food loved me, that everything's crystal clear. And you wake up in the morning with intention, you want to get up and go. And that's partly, the exercise as well, that you feel fit for the day and you get through the day as a mum, you know, I was shattered by the end of the day, and I actually didn't want to walk upstairs. And I noticed with my second child that I never went upstairs to change her nappy because actually every step was really painful.
Yeah.
And carrying that extra weight. Whereas, you know, now I wouldn't think anything of, you know, zipping up the stairs, and I go to bed at 10 o'clock because I know that I have to, because I need to get up in the morning and I need that rest.
Yeah.
But I could carry on and on and on and on.
But it's that whole thing, isn't it, about the sacrifice. Now, obviously, you're in incredible shape. You look healthy. You obviously, you know, you're well. You look after yourself. And like anything, I suppose, if you want something, there's a sacrifice. Even if you're sitting at home and you want a takeaway, or no one's going to bring you the takeaway for nothing, you're going to have to pay for it. There's a sacrifice for that. And it's the same if you want a six-pack. There's a sacrifice for that.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest sacrifice that maybe you've had to face in choosing to live a healthier lifestyle?
I don't see it as a sacrifice at all.
Yes.
It empowers me to be fit and healthy and be better than I was the day before every single day. And it should feel like that. It shouldn't feel like it's a sacrifice. I don't believe.
Because I think if you look at it like that,
you're
then you're
really truly empowered by it.
Yeah, and I think you then own that, and I think that's again something you do so well, is you're encouraging people to own their success.
Yeah,
so it's
take
theirs rather than a diet that is something external to them. You know, so if the diet fails, they think that they failed. No, it's just the approach, right?
Yeah.
So. And actually, when you were talking, I was also thinking, I read something recently that when we grow old gracefully, where we look at getting older as an opportunity to grow, and when people have that growth mindset, they age much better and they live longer. You know, and that's just one way of thinking about it. But by being physically, but you know, with the physical side of it, what type of exercise should people be doing? Should they be in the gym every day, busting it out, sweating?
There's no doubt about it. As you get older, you need to do some resistance training, but whether that's body weight or lifting weights, it's what works for you. For mums that are doing the struggle with the juggle, it's got to be something that works for them.
I want 10% of that. If you take that idea, by the way, the struggle with the juggle.
Trademark it. Struggle with the juggle.
Yeah.
For me, you know, I live in the middle of nowhere, and to get to a gym was going to take an hour out of my day, plus the hour that I might be there. And so I had to make it so that I could do it at home. You have to do whatever exercise you really love.
But it's fascinating, isn't it? Because we think about it as a sacrifice. And I can understand why anyone would think, oh, exercise, I don't feel like it, there's a sacrifice. But the feeling that we get from doing it,
oh, it's a natural high, isn't it?
It is a natural high, but we have to do something to get it. And I suppose that's the irony of it, isn't it? That when we are just wired up to get things by doing things, but people seem to have simplified that so much that we think that we can get things really easily without actually doing anything, but it doesn't work like that.
No, I think when you first start off, it's hard, but like anything, once you've done 10 days of it, you just get into the rhythm. And once you feel that high that you get afterwards, and you keep remembering how that feels and how it clears your mind and how it empowers you and how fantastic you feel, that will just kick in and you start to remember that and you'll absolutely love it.
So tell me about some of the results that you've got with people, because I know with your boot camp and the stuff that you do online with people, what sort of results do you...
So I've trained offline, one-to-one. I've trained George Wells, who broke the record for kite surfing across the Greenland ice cap.
Wow.
They broke the record in half. He did lose quite a few toes, about 7 in the process, but that wasn't my fault.
Wow.
But that was awesome. I've also trained Caroline Power, who got the bronze medal for the London Olympics in eventing, and I still see her now. And for online clients, you know, when they say you have changed my life, that is what drives me forward every single day.
But you have, because again, I've seen some of the people that you've helped.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
Everyday
people. Their posture has changed, and they've got a glow about them. And then they start posting that their kids have started joining in with their HIIT sessions, and they're really enjoying the food as well. And they're sitting down as a family, eating together, healthy food, and they're having a change of lifestyle. And it's just wonderful to see, because what the majority of people are eating on a daily basis and how they're moving is as far removed from what we were designed to be doing.
Yes, because you're obviously calling yourself the body mind coach, so you're more than just a personal trainer. It has a lot to do with the mind, right?
Yeah, it's a whole holistic approach. Our body works as a whole, and vagus nerve and the gut and mind connection. You have to address what's going on in the mind to make the shift to really want that lifestyle and to make that change a permanent change.
Yeah. Is it that people are ignorant, or do you think it's the fact, or is there the fact that there's a lot of confusion, or do you just think
definitely confusion that is out there for a reason to sell more products?
Yeah.
Lack of education, because this stuff just isn't taught in schools.
Or even to nutritionists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends what type of nutritionist you are, perhaps, but.
And even the NHS is quite old-fashioned information that they've got. And it's still being put out there as this is what you should do, and actually.
So talk to me a little bit about sugar and what you've found out from. And the effects that has on people, because it just seems like one big drug that I'm seriously
it's
addicted
pure, white
to.
and deadly.
Yes.
I can't remember who that book was.
Yatkin, I've got that book over there. Professor Yatkin, who wrote that book in the 50s,
a long time ago,
1950s, and people thought he was mad.
Yeah. And so sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine, and. We've just had Easter, and people think, I give our kids Easter eggs, and actually, is that a treat, or what exactly are you doing to them? What's the effect that it's having on their body? And so many people will pick up products that they don't even think about and give to their kids, and actually we're creating a generation of obese children that are going to be really sick and more than likely die before we do. And it's being aware of that, being able to be educated and learn and be curious about what's on the label, where's it coming from, what's the alternative, because many people know that they shouldn't be buying that, but they don't know how to make the alternative.
Well, isn't it? People say ignorance is bliss. I mean, I don't know whether it's bliss. I think ignorance is very dangerous.
Yeah.
To wake up and realise, hang on, what's really going on here and in the world today, that most of us are dying inside.
Yeah.
That, what did we call it? That, what I said before about Beth, having a serious health condition. We've all got a serious health condition. It's called, it's just how we are choosing, I suppose, how we're choosing to die or how we're choosing to live. And it seems to me that you have really embraced that choice of living. Because you either live or you die, right?
Yes, and I was an older mum, and I didn't want to be that fat mum in the school playground that everybody said, she's the one with the fat mum. I didn't want to be that person. I couldn't think of anything worse. And we all know that goes on in the playground. And the pain, that drives me forward every single day, because I know that if I have even half a glass of white wine, I can feel it in my hands. And if I have sugar, I know that I feel really sort of cloudy the next morning, the next day, and I feel like I'm surviving again. And I can feel that difference immediately, but that's only because I've been doing it for quite a while and I'm super in tune with what my body needs. But that's what I teach the people that come on my programs, to get in tune with their body, because everybody has their own unique requirements for nutrition. There's no one diet for all.
Yeah, and you're not saying that people shouldn't eat chocolate or anything. It all comes down to the personal choice that people make each day. But I really like that. I really like that whole concept you can either live or you can die, and you might not think that you're dying, but your decisions that...
Well, as soon as we are born...
We're dying,
yeah.
but we can choose to make the most of living.
Yeah.
And I know that people probably didn't wake up one day and think, you know what, I'm choosing to die a slow death every single day. But I think if we look at the choices that we do make, a lot of us, we think, well, hang on, I am making that choice. And I think what you do so well is empower people to look at things differently and then coach them and support them as they go through that process of change. Why is coaching so important?
To do it by yourself is so difficult, and with a community, I see, even with one-to-one clients as opposed to, you know, community online or boot camp, the ones that are in a group environment, they pull each other up. You're with like-minded people, and it's far easier to be successful in that environment than it is to do it on your own.
Yeah.
Some, you know, it works for some people like that, but for the majority of people, you're better off being in a community.
Well, I think one of the best analogies is if you have a car, you know, you want to try and fix it on your own if something goes wrong. No, you want to take it to someone who can help you get optimized. Someone understands how the system works. And, you know, the power of coaching, obviously I'm fortunate enough to, you know, have coached you or to still be coaching you.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I was coached by, there's a picture of him over there. He actually painted that picture on the wall over there. And you know, that, you know, paying it forwards. What has coaching done for you personally? What are some of the changes that you've made yourself?
I have made huge changes. So one of my fears would be standing on stage. But I had got to that point where I'd seen you going live every day, I was following you, and I thought, I have to get my message across. But the fear is stopping me doing that. And so I thought, well, this Facebook Live thing, I think Pete might be onto something here.
Yeah.
And so I started doing my hits live, but I was able to distance myself because you're behind a camera. But still going onto stage, I thought, I can't do that. So, you know, you've helped me with public speaking and then with mindset coaching as well for my coaching with clients.
It's all about paying it forwards, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can't, I can't live without it, really. You need that help and support to, you know, create your journey and, you know, really thrive in your environment. Anxiety and stress was something that I hadn't really come to My 365 for that, but it was something that I thought, hang on a minute, actually, I do need to address this, and managing that and diffusing that internally has been fantastic. And, you know, I didn't come to it for that, but it was actually
byproduct?
Yes, it was, and it actually played quite a big role in my life actually, and I didn't really recognise that until, you know, that subject came up. And since then, I'm able to go out of my comfort zone. I feel quite happy like that, and I can override that anxiety straight away.
You've obviously really embodied. Well, it's a pleasure. My goal is to impact the lives of 100 million people, and to have impacted your life, and for you to then be at impact. Because I can see the people that you're impacting, and it's truly amazing. And anyone that gets to work with you is so fortunate, not just because of what you've done and what you know, but how much you just want to inspire people to live this life as best as they possibly can.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do people get to work with you? How do they find out?
Follow me on Facebook, The Body Mind Coach. There's a free group that you can join there, and I post a recipe once a week and a workout once a week, and then there's lots of other information that I put in there as well, and it's, you know, I post in there Monday to Friday, so that's the best place to get hold of me.
Give us that Facebook address again.
It's The Body Mind Coach is the business page, and then The Body Mind Coach free group.
Go and check it out immediately. Can men join as well?
There are a few men in there. There are a few.
They found.
There's a wonderful doctor in there as well that he really helped me and inspired me. and he is an NLP coach and training with Paul McKenna.
Yeah.
He's in the background.
So, that whole thing of the era of the go-getter is gone. It's the go-giver, right?
Go-giver,
and
definitely.
what Samantha can definitely give you is she can give you the inspiration for you to go out there and start making some changes.
One of my friends did do that, and she sent me a picture of herself looking, absolutely fantastic. I thought, that's great. Why are you sending me that picture? And then about 10 minutes later, she said, oh no, I've been following all of your recipes. This is the before picture. And I was like, oh my goodness. And she's actually training to be a personal trainer herself. But she realised that even though she was going to boot camp, 5 days a week, that she could not out-train a bad diet. And just by making that switch in nutrition made all the difference. And she got her 6-pack.
Wow. So what's next for you?
Oh, what's next? Would that be telling?
Maybe it's a secret.
It's a secret.
Well, go and follow Samantha and you'll probably...
We've got some things in the
find out.
pipeline. Still working with you on your weight loss challenge as well, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, well, you've been...
to
Again,
do.
I've just seen the impact that you've had on people. And I've met many people that do the work that you do. But in my eyes, you're different gravy made out of... Can you make healthy... I mean, is there anything wrong with gravy?
Gluten-free gravy. There's nothing wrong with gravy at all.
course.
It's just, meat juices.
Yeah, absolutely. I fancy that. I'll just have some more coffee. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Make sure you follow Samantha, and we will see you next time for another My365 podcast. If you have enjoyed this podcast, make a comment. If you're on iTunes, make a comment. If you're watching on our webpage or YouTube, make a comment, share it. We'll get those comments back to Samantha, and together we will
make the world healthy.
We will make the world healthy. Take care. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.